Good morning guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now, Renault and the RS division are renowned for making some legendary hot hatches. I've owned one of them, the Clio 172, and I thought that car was brilliant. Now this here is its bigger, older brother. This is the Megane RS 280. So I'm really looking forward to taking this out on the road. It is the latest generation 3 version. The other two have almost got legendary status, so it's going to be great to see what this car is like. Now, before we get going though, I want to say a big thank you to Advantage Cars here in Hailsham who have lent this to me. They are a used car dealership, but they offer main dealer facilities. Anyway guys, less chatting, let's get looking around the new Megane RS 280. So here we go guys, we're out on the lovely back roads here of East Sussex. We're in the sportiest setting this car can be in, got various modes, but I want it to be angry and aggressive and see what this car is like. So up front now we've got a 1.8 litre turbocharged engine putting out 280 brake horsepower, 390 newton meters of torque, all going through the front wheels. That sounds like a recipe for disaster. Front wheel drive with this amount of power. But this has got the cup chassis. You can tell that by the fact it's got the red calipers, but that does mean we've got 10% firmer dampers and springs. It's stiffer, it's more aggressive, and most importantly we have a limited slip diff at the front to try and help tame that 280 brake horsepower. That is a lot, and you can, yeah, blimey, it's a bit of a live wire this one. This car has some very trick suspension. Rather than going for active dampers, they've gone for passive, but there's a hydraulic bump stop in there as well. So basically it acts like a damper within a damper. The guys at Renault Sport have worked their magic. There are videos out there if you want to know exactly how it works, but I care about how it affects the car, and it is wonderful. It handles the bumps so well, and when you're not in the mood for hooning it around country roads, it's very civilized. You can put it in comfort mode and just potter along. It doesn't actually change the suspension as such as you would do with an active damper. Just everything becomes a bit more relaxed. Something that is very unusual to be found in a hot hatch is all-wheel steering. That's normally found in Porsches and other high-performance cars, but somehow Renault have actually fitted it to this Megane, and it gives some very fun handling characteristics. So if you're traveling around town in normal mode, the wheels will turn in the opposite direction to the front wheels, and that gives you the appearance of having a shorter wheelbase. If you're in sports mode, it will do that up to 67 miles an hour. Basically you'll have a car that handles incredibly well. Just the turn-in is phenomenal. It's a bit unnerving at first until you get used to it, but it is brilliant. So So this steering fitted with these new dampers, the limited slip diff, the hardened springs, everything about this makes it a wonderful, wonderful driving experience. You feel quite alive. This thing is fast, I mean really fast on these back roads, and there's no sign of slippage in here. It seems to handle quite flat up to, you know, the speed limit. I'm sure if you went beyond that on a track you might have different experience, but these sort of roads, oh yes please. There is something lovely about this car. The fact we have a 6-speed manual as standard. You can upgrade to the paddle shift, but this is the one I'd go for. There is something very special about a very powerful front wheel drive car with a manual. I'm sure the automatic is okay. I know that's the only option you can get in the Clio, the new Clio, and there have been some complaints about that, but I'm very happy with this. That was something I loved about my Clio 172. There was loads of power, it was lightweight, and it was a manual. Just makes the driving so engaging. I have driven some cars recently, the new Mini GP, I'll put a card up for that, which is automatic only, but I'm quite pleased. That thing was a live wire. It was very uncompromising, 100% track focused, so you were jiggled everywhere, it tramline, torque steered, but put a huge smile on your face. This isn't quite as bad as that, which is good, so you do have time to not just hold on tight to the steering wheel and hope that you're not going to crash into a bush or something, but it's just very, very pleasant. Something I absolutely love about slightly older cars, well it's not old, 2018, is the fact the OPF filter is not a thing on this car. So we get proper pops and cracks coming out the back, and you can be going slowly and get them, which seems to happen more often. So I'm doing like 30 miles an hour. Little farts and pops, it's awesome. So childish, but it adds something quite special to the car. Not sure what the person behind me's thinking as this thing's probably complaining that there's something wrong with my car and it needs to go to a garage. We've come onto some very boring roads, so it gives me a chance to talk about the interior of the car. It is a big step up from the Gen 2, which is a very good thing. We'll start off with the instrument binnacle. This is a bit hit and miss for me. I love the digital part of this in the middle. That's great, so big thumbs up with that. But the confusing thing is, to the left and right, we've got these large analog dials showing fuel and temperature. Renault would have been far better off putting a large, probably a 10-inch screen in there and just having that one thing. So, a bit confusing that. What you see in the middle can be changed depending on the mode you're in. So if you press the RS button, you can cycle through different modes. So you've got comfort, neutral, race, sport and perso, so personalised settings. So at the moment I'm in neutral, and you get a very normal looking dial. You've got speed and rev counter. One that is a bit strange, if you go over to say comfort for example, you don't get a rev counter whatsoever, you just get a blue Speedo is a bit more relaxed. But then if you obviously go into sport, you get a completely different look, which is a large Speedo and then like these bars that pulse in and out, which are your rev counter. So yeah, not 100% sold on that one, but you can change it, which is a really good thing. The steering wheel, Renault have done a really good job on this. It's a nice size leather steering wheel, red stitching, red RS logo badge, and the 12 o'clock marking on the top. So that's great. The infotainment system is okay, a little bit difficult to navigate around, but it does its job perfectly well. Under there, this is one thing they've definitely got 100% right, is the air conditioning or the climate control. It's physical buttons. Wonderful, well done Renault, keep up the job with that one. As I mentioned, RS button to cycle through the different settings, USB port, etc. down here. Now the seat, this is something Renault have got very, very right. They are lovely, they are so supportive, got lovely side bolstering, massive bolsters in front, to be honest, and it stops you rolling around in the car. When you're progressing on your B roads, you do not want to be flopping around inside of the car, and especially when you take this thing on track, oh my, this thing would be an absolute weapon. I would love to experience that. Maybe one day I'll get to do that. I was a bit concerned at the beginning of the video that the changes made to this new Megane to make it more appealing, maybe it had ruined the whole purpose of being a hot hatch. And I don't think it has. It is a very, very competent car. It is so much fun on these back roads. It is an absolute weapon, and I can imagine on track this thing would be phenomenal. It's so driver focused. It's not OTT, very much like the Mini GP3 was. That was completely track focused, but this sits in the middle ground. The passive dampers do an amazing job. I love the four-wheel steer on this. Gives it such a pointy and darty feel to the car, and it puts a huge smile on your face. You do need to have your wits about you though, because it does suffer from a bit of torque steer, not ridiculous amounts, but when you're putting 280 brake horsepower through the front wheels, things are going to happen. But they've done a great job anyway. I am going to call this video to a close. I've got to take this car back to Advantage Cars, which is a shame. So guys, thank you very much for lending this to me. If you are interested in this particular car, it's up for sale. I think it's £22,850, which I think is a bit of a bargain really, because it's an absolute weapon. They do have a ton of other cars, so head on over to their website or Auto Trader to see what they've got. Anyway, I'm rambling. If you have enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Comments are always welcome, and remember to click on the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.